In the name of God, hello everybody. My name is Mehdi Kordnavarsi, and this is seventh movie of the Software Architecture and Design, Chapter 4. And after you complete the architectural modeling activity, you can begin to refine the design and plan test. Communicate the design to the others for reviewing the model and finding the new solution and shortcuts to change the model. And let's see some directions in this phase. Keep in mind the following guidelines. The first, you need a simple document. If you capture your candidate architectures and architectural test cases in a document, keep the document lightweight, easy to understand, so that you can easily update it. Such a document may include details of your objectives, application type, and deployment topology, key scenarios and requirements, technologies, quality attributes, and tests. Use the diagram and shape and pictures as much as you can, and some short movies or MP3s, and to show the documentation including all these parts. The next, you need to communicate the information you capture to relevant team members and other stakeholders. This may include your application development team, your test team, and your network team, and the system administrators. Do not underestimate the managers in your client company and the end user, and if you can, talk with them and show your model to them and get the feedback. The next, use the quality attributes, including the supportability, testability, availability, interoperability, manageability, performance, and reliability, scalability, security, conceptual integrity, flexibility, maintainability, reusability, and usability of the system. You need to review all of these quality attributes in your design and to help shape your design and implementation. For example, developers should be aware of anti-pattern related to the identified architectural risks and use the appropriate proven patterns to help address the issues. The next step, you need to review the architecture for your application is a critically important task in order to reduce the cost of mistakes and to find and fix architectural problems as early as possible. Architecture review is a proven, cost-effective way to reduce project costs and change of project failure. There are some professional courses and techniques you can learn out of this class to how you document the project, how to review and your architecture. Let's see a short movie and familiar with one of these institutes.
E-learning courses from the Software Engineering Institute bring the quality and caliber of SEI research and innovation directly to you. SEI e-learning offers the same professional knowledge as in-classroom training at your convenience when and where you want to learn. The Documenting Software Architectures course teaches effective practices, in depth and in context, of prevailing development models. This course provides 11 hours of instruction presented by Paul Clements, prolific SEI author on software architecture and engineering. Effectively documenting a software architecture is as important as crafting it. You will learn the principles of sound documentation, styles and views, and more advanced concepts such as documenting context diagrams, variability, and software interfaces. Register today.
Okay, next step is a scenario-based evaluation, and you need to evaluate your architecture design by focusing on the business side of the problem instead of the technological side of your architecture. In a scenario-based evaluation, the focus is on the scenario that are most important from the business side perspective and which have the greatest impact on the architecture. Consider using one of the following command review methodologies. The first methodology is a Software Architecture Analysis Method, or SAAM. SAAM was originally designed for assessing modifiability, but later was extended for reviewing architecture with respect to quality attributes such as modifiability, portability, extensibility, integrability, and functional coverage. All of these features are about the business side of the problem. The next is the Architecture Trade-off Analysis Method, or ATAM. ATAM is a refined and improved version of SAAM that helps you review architectural decisions with respect to quality attribute requirements and how well they satisfy particular quality goals. The next is the Active Design Review, or ADR. ADR is best suited for incomplete or in progress architectures. The main difference is that the review more focus on a set of issues or individual section of the architecture at a time, rather than performing a general review. The next is active reviews of intermediate design, or ARID. ARID combines the ADR aspect of reviewing in scenario-based review focused on quality attribute. Focus on a set of issues, and the ATAM and SAAM approach of scenario-based review focus on quality attributes. The next is the Cost-Benefit Analysis Method, or CBAM. This CBAM focuses on analyzing the cost, benefits, and schedule implications of architectural decisions. In this part, the cost and money is one of the most important key parameters for the decision maker before starting implementing and coding the program and making the application. The next methodology is architecture level modifiability analysis, or ALMA. ALMA evaluates the modifiability of architecture for business information system, or BIS. And the next methodology is a family architecture assessment method, or FAAM. So FAAM evaluates information system family architecture for interoperability and extensibility. Okay, let's see a short movie, 5 minutes, about business analysis and reviewing the problem definition and finding the data flow in the business
In the knowledge
model.
nugget on keeping your user stories simple, we discussed Rule 1 of how to write effective user stories that express business needs and minimize misunderstandings. To wit, an effective user story is a simple sentence that does not contain conjunctions. And, or, but, etc., or limiting phrases, unless, without, except, etc. Assuming that your user story complies with Rule 1, what else can you, as the author, do to make your and your developers' lives easier? In a word, lots. Just for info, there are going to be several rules in this series by the time we're done. So without further ado, let's get on with the next rule. Rule 2 in the series states, an effective user story emphasizes what should be done, not how to do it. Since the birth of the information technology, IT profession, and presumably even before that, developers or builders of any kind have been asking the business community, their customers, to tell them what they want, not how to develop it. After all, the how is really the dominion of the developer community. It's their job. The problem, as always, lies in the detail of how to follow this seemingly simple rule. So let's analyze the what not how rule to see what it is really all about. Primarily, it's about focusing on the business results and avoiding thinking about how to achieve them. Avoiding preconceived solutions seems like a great idea, because all too often your overworked developers will simply implement what you ask for, without considering whether it is the best alternative. You need to avoid what I call the solution trap, also known as the how trap. Think about what business result you want to achieve, and let the developers think about how they can achieve it, given your parameters. You can do this by thinking about the destination instead of the journey. Here's a good example. Let's say I'm teaching a class in Houston next Thursday and Friday. The class starts at 8:30 a.m. Thursday morning. If I were to formulate a user story in that context, I could say, as a traveler, I can book a flight leaving the day before the class starts to be on time for the class. Note that this complies with Rule 1 and the suggested structure for a user story. However, expressed that way, I'm limiting my choices. Booking a flight is a how, or expressed differently, it's a preconceived solution because it assumes I will fly there. How about I say, as a traveler, I can be at the customer site at the designated time on the morning of the first day to begin the class on time. That leaves me with lots of options to fill my business need. I could fly there on Wednesday and stay overnight in a hotel, like most civilized folk would probably do. I could drive there in my motorhome in a couple of days, or even hitchhike from Tampa if I feel lucky and relish the added element of uncertainty. The point is, there are many possible ways of satisfying the business need, so do not get hung up on the obvious solution too soon. Try to think about business logic or rules instead of technology solutions. Let's look at a real example to clarify exactly how subtle the difference can be. If a subject matter expert, or SME, has a problem with customers entering invalid state abbreviations in the address box of a form, they might be tempted to write the user story. As an applicant, I can select my state from a drop-down box of abbreviations to avoid entering an invalid state. That way, the SME will never get an illegal state abbreviation. The problem is that a drop-down box is actually a specific technology. Not necessarily a bad one, by the way, but not necessarily the best either. If, instead of jumping to the solution, the SME considers what she's really trying to achieve, a better user story might be, as an applicant, I can submit a valid state abbreviation to ensure an accurate quote for insurance coverage. This expresses what the business needs, a valid state abbreviation, without specifying how we are going to achieve it, the drop-down box. Why is this important? By avoiding premature technology decisions, the user story actually becomes more valuable. If your user story tells me, the developer, that you want a drop-down box, I may not even consider any other options. Perhaps, instead of using a drop-down, it would be possible to automate the process by using the zip code and a web app that returns the state automatically. As a website visitor, I appreciate any solution that reduces or eliminates mistakes I can make. As succinctly as possible, Rule 2 states, an effective user story expresses what should be done, not how to accomplish it, by A, avoiding preconceived solutions, B, describing the business result, not the technology needed, and C, describing the destination, not the journey. If you follow this simple recommendation, your user stories will be much more effective.
Okay, we reached to the end of the chapter 4, and thank you for watching this movie.